He's screaming, "Don't do stoppage! Don't do stoppage!" But hey, man, you're in a fight. If it was a fight to the death, you'd be dead.
2 guys, 1 bench. Shit talking. Strength sports. Combat sports. Game over.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to 2 Guys, 1 Bench,
where we talk a lot of shit
and we drop some truth bombs on your ass.
Rant of the week. We're about to pop some caps.
All right, Darrell, let's kick it off with some rants of the week. For me, my biggest rant so far after last night watching some of the fights is just watching refs that referee events such as the UFC that have no right to be in there because they don't fucking even practice the sport at all. So they don't know what it's like to get punched in the face. They don't know what it's like to be in a submission, how close you are to tapping out. And it's just a bunch of bullshit. Even the best ref out there, 𝐓.𝐆.𝐻, last night, there was a fight on between, the hell's that guy?
Sean O'Malley.
Yeah. And
the other guy that filled in.
The green-haired zombie, we don't even know his name, but he filled in last second. And he just fucking came forward, took all the hits, pillow fist, fucking Malley couldn't finish him. And, last 30 seconds, good old 𝐓 stops the fight, even though he's still pressuring forward and, not looking like he's too hurt. What do you think about that, Darrell?
I understand it from all aspects. I see it a lot, especially with basketball. Watching that a lot, it's kind of annoying to see people ref something and influence something that they don't participate in. We get it with powerlifting when you get judges and people running federations and shit and they don't compete. It's really frustrating because they've never been in your shoes.
Yeah.
They're just treating everything as a textbook case, and that's not how it is. If they've never been in your spot, they're just judging things from how it looks and how it seems. I understand last night 𝐓.𝐆.𝐻 thought he was saving the guy, but there's 2 things. One, the guy was charging forward even though he was getting fucked up all fight. And 2, there was 30 seconds left, and at no point did it look like Malley was going to drop the guy.
Exactly. And that just takes all the power away from this guy, the green-haired zombie. We don't know his name. Maybe we'll pop it down here. But, he basically went through the fight, taking all the shots. It would have been a great performance if he could finish and just go, what? That's all you got, even though he got his ass kicked. Just show his toughness, right? So, like you said, even in powerlifting, I've been, that the Worlds in 2019, I had a judge that gave me a red light in every fucking lift. I still managed to win in my weight class, but I had all the odds against me. And pretty sure this lady doesn't lift at all, or if she did, it was 10 years ago. And now, there are these experts on depth and all the rules, but it's political. Some people just don't like you, and they're going to give you red lights. Or maybe there's some asshole referee that's on the side of the other guy. Who knows? But that's what's pissing me off these days.
What I want to rant about is toxic masculinity. No, I'm not on the SJW side of it and talking about how all men are pieces of shit and masculinity should be something that we're all ashamed of. I want to actually stand on the side of masculinity because it's absolute bullshit. Just because someone doesn't like a trait that a man possesses, most of the time they'll call it toxic masculinity. When at the same time, another person will see that trait and it's desired, and to them it's not toxic. Perfect example. It's toxic masculinity if you open the door for women.
What?
Because you're thinking they can't do something on their own, but another woman will see that and be like, he's being chivalrous, it's nice. But another one just seeing it as, oh, you're making it so I can't do things on my own. It's just bullshit. Toxic masculinity is absolutely ridiculous because there's nothing on the opposite side of the spectrum. There's no toxic femininity where being too feminine is ever wrong. Anything with being associated with a woman, there's nothing that's demonized about that. There's, oh my God, he's so sensitive. That's toxic femininity right there. When a woman is being emotional, we don't say that's being toxic. No, we possess different traits, men and women. We are different, despite what the New Zealand Olympic lifting team wants to tell you.
Whoa.
We are different, but there's a big difference in how we display things and traits that you don't like when you see someone. You may think it's toxic. Other people, it might be just normal behavior or accepted or desired. I just think it's a crock of shit.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing like Darrell stirring up the old fucking bucket. But yeah, I think, there are aspects of men being pieces of shit. I lived in Japan for 11 years, as I always say to you guys. But over there, it's like you're trapped in the 50s, man. These guys don't do shit. They're, all the office ladies have to make tea in the morning and serve it to the men. So there's like a complete opposite spectrum I saw there. But one thing I must say is, like, women, I think in general, like a man who's a man, who can be handy around the house, can fix things, can do, is tough and doesn't pussify the way men are. I think men are getting more and more feminine, I hate to say it. You look at the rappers these days, these guys are a bunch of skinny ass motherfuckers. Back in my day, all the guys were juiced up, big.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of a man was different 20, 30 years ago. Now, skinny jeans being 150 pounds is cool. I'm just not down with that, Darrell.
Yeah, it's going with our generation. Everything is demonizing anything that's masculine as being bad. So being big, being muscular is bad. Like, I even saw an article talking about how going to the gym is toxic masculinity at work and supporting the patriarchy. It's like, oh, sorry, I want to actually have a healthy lifestyle and not be a 140-pound useless twig. Sorry.
And that goes for you, Jose!
Combat sports.
All right, Darrell, let's kick it off with some combat sports. Last night was, deemed to be the biggest card of the summer. Who was it?
It was Dustin and Conor 3. It was supposed to be the massive trilogy, the conclusion to this epic 3 fight between Dustin and Conor, and it definitely disappointed.
Definitely. It ended up, with a doctor stoppage after Conor basically tapped his fucking self out with a toe hold versus the fucking mat. He's screaming, "Don't do stoppage! Don't do stoppage!" But hey, man, you're in a fight. It's a fight. If it was a fight to the death, you'd be dead. That was a war, and that's what I see MMA as. In traditional, judo, we see throws. If I can throw you on your back, ippon, that means, in the battlefield, you're dead because I just slide a knife into you. So, same thing. Win is a win, and Conor kind of, he still showed himself as a big asshole, even while he's laying there with his broken-ass leg. Bro.
Yeah, he's showed his true colors. All that shit that when the second time he fought Dustin, he was all nice and humble because he knew he was coming off of losses and people aren't as ready to see him, but he had to market the fight and advertise himself. I get it, but he's not Mystic Mac. He's not Focus Conor. All these bullshit narratives people like to pass on him. He's a great fighter, really great fighter, but even in the interviews that the fans had with him, a guy said to him, "You haven't had a win streak since Barack Obama was in office. So what makes this any different? What's going to be different?" And nothing's changed because, yes, the fight got stopped because of the stoppage, whatever, but let's not forget that for 3 minutes he was on his back getting fucking elbowed by Dustin, and Dustin was clearly mauling that man. Yes, he landed some good shots, but I'd much rather be Dustin in all those exchanges. Yeah. And if they go a second round and his ankle or leg is fine, who really cares? The way he was trending, Dustin was going to beat the shit out of that man. Obviously, we'll never know, but it was looking really good for Dustin.
Yeah, and I'd rather not see, a fourth fight. What I would like to see is maybe that Nate Diaz, Conor, they're both kind of at that stage in their career that they can't compete with the top 5 anymore. But it'd be fun to see that fight and see those two go at it. But I'm thinking even with this ankle break now he's going to be worrying about kicks. It's never going to be the same. You've had injuries, I've had injuries. Yeah. You're not the same after, Maybe he should just go and fight Pacquiao, not worry about kicks, and get his ass kicked there and then call it a day.
Yeah, he's got no real future left in this. I think what you said is true. He's got about 6 months to heal up, and then probably a year or two till he's confident to throw that kick full on and feel confident moving around. Look at Anderson Silva. We didn't see him return for a year and a half, almost 2 years. So I think it's okay for Conor to call it a day. You've made hundreds of millions, but just walk away.
Walk away and don't be an asshole and fucking beating up old dudes in bars and grabbing fucking French fucking baguettes while you're out there in Paris.
For fuck's sake, your time has come. Hang 'em up. Please retire.
But moving on, we really want to talk about who, Darrell?
The heavyweight matchup that's coming up. I believe it's next month. It's for the interim world title, which is kind of ridiculous. These interim belts mean really dick all. They're equivalent of a Happy Meal prize because they don't mean anything. You can be the interim champ and get leaped over for a chance at the belt. But anyways, we got Derrick Lewis, the Beast, against Gane.
Gane is what they pronounce it, yeah.
Yeah, I always mispronounce his last name. And it's going to be a good heavyweight fight because, let's be real, anytime Derrick Lewis is in there, everybody wants to watch because he's shown it multiple times that one punch is all it takes for him to knock you the fuck out. Whether it was with Volkov when he was getting dominated for 24 minutes, or even his fight with Curtis Blades when Blades went to shoot on him and he threw a punch from his hip and knocked him out.
Hell yeah, I mean, he's one of the most exciting fighters. And not only that, he's one of the funniest motherfuckers out there. Shit he says, it comes out of his mouth. It's pretty awesome. His Instagram page is out of control. You said last night he was hanging out in a room with Bieber and all these people.
Yeah.
And what was he doing?
So for the people that didn't see it on his Instagram, he was posting, he's in a room full of all kinds of celebrities. You got Justin Bieber, you got Odell Beckham, you got all these people that are A-list celebrities. He's just sitting there on the couch just eating food. Like, it's some good-ass food. Like, that just shows the kind of guy he is. He doesn't get caught up in the moment. He's just doing his own thing. I personally would like to see him win and fight Ngannou again, even though it was the most boring heavyweight matchup of all time. Seeing a guy come from prison and being the world champ would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, and the Gane guy, I mean, I'm not a huge fan. Everybody's like, oh, he's technical, he's a master. Well, he doesn't knock motherfuckers out because every fight he's been in has been like a decision, which I'm not impressed with. I'm like, if you're this badass heavyweight, knock some dudes out. And that's something Lewis almost guarantees. So I think, Derrick's going to smash him, and then Ngannou's, who's hiding right now, even though he's at these events all the time. I think, he's in Ngannou's head. That first fight, he was so scared of him he couldn't pull the trigger. And now he knows, like, that's the guy that could turn my switch off. So looking forward to this year and getting those fights, those heavyweight fights in.
Health and fiction. That's some bullshit.
All right, everybody, we're going to talk a little bit of health and fiction. What I want to talk about is, going back to the McGregor fight and him snapping his ankle there. Well, there's a concept in fitness called structural tolerance. As you become more fit, train, your body gets tougher, you're able to, support more weight. For example, right now, I haven't been doing super heavy lifts. If I threw 600 pounds on my back, it would fuck me up. Darrell, he doesn't stop lifting, and he's been going hard, so that would be easy for him, even though he's doing like 520 for 7 right now. That puts him pretty high, He's probably looking at a 630, 640 squat, and I know he can do that. That's the structural tolerance. I've been skipping these heavy leg days, trying to just lean out, getting more kind of, coaching MMA shape. But with Conor, he's just kind of been here and there, probably puts in a training camp, and then just looks like he's on a fucking yacht for the rest of the year, drinking proper 12 and doing rails off fucking God knows what. But, what I want to say, and I've seen it day in, day out in my gym, people come in, they haven't trained a long time, they get in, they try to jump into sparring, and they get hurt. Something pops, something, you got to really be in this game. You got to really be focused on, making your body this indestructible thing, What do you think of that, Darrell?
I see it a lot. I saw it a lot with all the team sports I played growing up.
Yeah.
You always see it when people take time off from something as simple as even pick up basketball. People that are playing all the time rarely bitch about how sore they are or this hurts, blah, blah, blah. But those guys that always try getting back into shape are the ones that constantly are getting hurt because their body can't handle it anymore. It's as simple as when you go out for a run, how many out there, you get shin splints, your feet hurt, your knees hurt, you can't do it anymore. But then there's people out there bigger than you that's more load on their bodies, but they can do it no problem because they're actually doing it over and over and over and building up that tolerance, and they're able to put their body through that and subject themselves through it. You see it with football, even playing something like flag football. I thought, oh, this is going to be super easy. You go out after not running for 3 months and your entire body's sore. Meanwhile, there's guys in the NFL who are getting hit by 300-pounders every week and they're fine. Obviously not fine, but they're still able to compete. It's just, once you stop doing something, people assume that you can just go right back to it without any repercussions, and that you can just hop back into activity and muscle memory will get you through it.
Yeah, not only that, like just, handpicking your training team and having the private camp just catered towards you. I mean, that's worked a little bit, but I think, some of the best fighters came out of these crazy gyms where their team was strong. You're sparring all these dudes. Let's say, for example, AKA, you had DC, Kane, Luke Rockhold, Khabib, all these animals, and they're all sparring each other. They're grinding. You heard that term, metal sharpens metal. It's fucking true. So you need to be in a proper training camp. You gotta be doing this year round if you want to live that life, that champ life, right? Maybe the only exception is GSP, but I'm not impressed by his performance recently with his frosted tips.
But at the same time, even GSP was training with Rory McDonald, who at the time was
I guess he
probably
never really stops.
Yeah, he was the best in the world, really, outside of GSP, and they just never fought. Or another teammate was like David the Crow Lewis. So you remember him back in the day. Yeah. He had guys around him that were top, but they were overshadowed by GSP. But the fact that he always kept training, but it was just in Canada, so it was low key. I think all that's really been shown with Conor getting money, it's not that his training has gotten worse or anything. He's been exposed for the lack of training and kind of the padded stats he's had moving up to it. If we want to look at his path, very simply, you beat Chad Mendes, who was going to beat you if he had a full camp. He accepted you on very short notice and was punishing you, and then you finally beat him when he gassed out. Congrats on that. You fought Dennis Silva. Oh boy, big name there. You fought Dustin Poirier when he was fresh into the game. You fought Max Holloway, who's a much smaller fighter. It's like all these guys weren't anything, and then once you get to the top, you fought Eddie Alvarez, who we've seen get knocked the fuck out multiple times since. He wasn't that great. You beat Aldo, which is great, but it was one punch and then you never rematched him. So I think everything was like the perfect, it was just the perfect situation for him to be in a great situation of succeeding. And then finally, once he had to actually push himself and go against the guys like a Khabib, he couldn't stand it because he's never trained that way. He just was getting good shots all the way up. Even when he went and fought Diaz. Diaz shouldn't beat him. If you're the best guy in the world at your weight class, pound for pound, and Journeyman calls you out, you're supposed to whoop his ass, not get choked out in the second round. And then when you have a rematch, I think he 100% lost to Diaz because he was being outpaced the entire time. But Dana White needs a certain win, so...
Yeah, he's definitely not going out. In my opinion, he's not the greatest of all time. Hell no. He's going out as like a guy that was awesome, had that Mystic Mac appeal. He was an amazing kind of shit talker. But as one of the greatest fighters ever, I don't see it. And maybe he should take a page out of GSP's book and just fucking retire. GSP was smart enough to do it when he had belts. So, the hard truth of health and fiction, and if you're not in the game and you're 100% into it, don't be coming back and get everybody's hopes up. You let a lot of your fans down, and now you're just kind of seen as a joke.
Technique of the week.
What's up, everybody? Well, technique of the week here. We got a special guest. Well, it's Darrell. Why is he showing us deadlift? Well, this guy deadlifts 830 pounds, and he's all natural, and I know he is, so it's pretty amazing. So he's going to show you anybody out there that's, Joe average, to even the biggest guy that's on all the Tremboloni sandwiches, just some pointers on how to lift better.
All right, so when we first get started and you want to do the deadlift, whether you're a beginner or you're very advanced in it, a common thing I see when I look at a lifter is just their foot placement is off. So when you're approaching the bar, this is all stuff that I'm going to focus on before I'm ever touching the bar, is foot placement. Too often I see people super wide. The problem with that is you see the knees cave in sometimes, or even one side or the other. You're not moving as efficiently as possible, so what I suggest for most people is bring the feet in. The other reason I say to bring the feet in is because you want your arms to ideally drop down when you touch a bar, because if they can drop down, you're staying as tall as possible when you're deadlifting, and then it shortens the range of motion. You're in a more advantageous spot so that your joints are more open. You can lock out easier. I understand with the bigger lifters, sometimes you need to widen it out, but you still can do some with your foot positioning, whether that's turning the feet out, because even something as simple as that will allow for you to drop down and use your quads a little bit more. But let's just say average body type, that's 200-pound lifter, you're going to walk up to the bar. Big mistake I see is a lot of people, they always think, okay, bar gets close to the shins or on the shins. What you're going to see from that is a pull similar to that. It's very slow. It's primarily your hamstrings, a lot in your back, and those are the same people who are saying, oh, deadlifts really kill my back. Well, if deadlifts are killing your back, maybe you should use your ass. It's a big, strong muscle, and you should be using it properly. Easy way to use your ass. Back up from the bar. Have the bar mid-foot. For me personally, for my leverages, I like the bar to even go little toe on me. So when I look down, I see that. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to squat down to the bar. That way I'm not just hinging and only using my posterior chain. When I'm squatting down to the bar's still near my shins, but this way my quads are loaded so that when I initiate the pull, it's faster and I can lock out easier. So how that's going to differ for different people, I also like to get away from just pulling with primarily your back, primarily your hamstrings, because that's only so much weight you're going to be able to move. When you're looking down at the bar, feet straight is okay, but for the most part, I like to have the feet turned out a bit. You can try it when on yourself. Stand, put your foot out, turn your foot. If I have my foot turned, as soon as you do that, you feel your ass fire. When you feel your ass fire, you know you're engaging it. So why wouldn't I engage my ass before I want to do a deadlift to make sure it's firing properly? And I'm pulling from there, not my spine. So here, turn my feet out, make sure everything's good. Arms are dropping straight down. From here, my ass is engaged, quads are engaged. I'm pulling and down. Now, I mentioned it earlier about the bar dragging up and down your shins. I don't personally like it. And the reason why I say that is because you're causing friction to slow yourself down. And at no point in any sport would you ever want to slow down your top speed. If I'm going to go run 100 meters, I'm not going to run with my arm on a wall and try and sprint 100 meters. It's just not realistic. When I throw punches, I'm not going to stand beside something and try and have something slow me down. It's not going to help. With a deadlift, a lot of people, they're dragging up their shins. If you feel the pain of a deadlift coming up your legs, at a certain point, you're just going to be like, I've had enough mentally, and you are going to weaken in some way or another. Or you get the people who bring the bar around their knees. The way I'm going to show you how to deadlift is so that the bar, your knees get out of the way of the bar. It's a straight line up and down, and then you're able to lock out a pull better. So now we got our footwork set up, and we're looking down. What I want in the grip, whether you go mixed grip, whatever, I want you to just grab. Once you're set here, I want you to think about bringing your shoulders to your hips. I know that seems impossible, but all I'm saying is this. I'm pulling my shoulders towards the hips. Almost, some people like the cue of showing your elbows or tighten up the armpits. Whatever you need to do, tighten up the lats. Because a lot of the time when people go to pull, their upper back goes, and you see them cat back in it up at the top, and they struggle to lock out. So feet are set, I'm down, I'm going to lock in. Once I'm locked into my upper back, as soon as I'm pulling, everything's a straight line. All my force is going through the ground, it's not going through my knees and having them cave in, and nothing's being lost with my upper back being gone. One of the last things I want to look at, just a quick tip for everybody out there, is the lockout. Too often you see people lock out, like you probably see it with clients or people at meets. They pull a deadlift and lean back. That's problematic for a couple reasons. One, you're putting way too much pressure on your lower back. So if you do it over and over and over in training for reps, your low back is going to start to kill, and it's just going to be way too painful, and it's not sustainable for long periods of time. Also, at the same time, you're not using your ass, and you're not extending the hips, you're just extending with your back. And really, if you want to make the pull as big as possible, you want it to be as efficient as possible. So to make it more efficient, think of it as a standing hip thruster. Once you break in the knees, you're bringing the hips forward. That way we're shortening the amount of travel that's in the bar. So if you saw me from the side angle when I'm pulling, I'll show you the difference between when I pull locking out with my back and then locking out with my glutes. So if I drop down, lock everything in, and I go back, I'm here. Opposed to here. I'm locked out. It's a shorter pull overall. And those are just 3 quick tips that anybody should honestly practice. Whether you're beginner, experienced, it doesn't really matter. Anybody can benefit from them. There'll be a little bit of wiggle room depending on your body leverages, but for the most part, check that out and it'll help your deadlift.
700-pound deadlift has eluded me. I'm going to take Darrell's tips here, start working on that, try to hit that. You know, I've hit a 665. Was red-lighted by that one judge that I told you screwed me out of it at Worlds. But hey, I'm not a fucking complainer. I'm going to keep on working hard using these tips. So let's see here, Darrell.
Right, so like I was saying about before, footwork first, arms,
good,
and then standing hip thruster.
I'm going to do Darrell's zombie. Felt good. So, don't forget, check out our sponsors. We got Resolute here. Got this fantastic custom-made belt for Muteki Strong Academy, my gym. Darrell.
Got a Misfit shirt here. Russ was wearing it earlier, the Bridge City Barbers and Bridge City Band shirts. We also have sponsors 𝐓.𝐆.𝐻 Inc. and Boost.
Definitely. And yeah, these Misfit shorts, new red series are out. They're amazing. I love the way they feel. They stretch, and they're a little higher cut, so you can show off your little quads if you got them.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
And don't forget to eat big,
train hard,
and always be fight ready.